Kansas State and Colorado. Right now, the line is +3.5 Colorado, 56.5 over/under.
If you're Colorado, okay, we talked about how the UCF win was probably your biggest credibility builder. All right, if you want to not only get that credibility that you've been thirsting for, if we want to answer the question of, can Colorado really compete to win the Big 12 even though the Big 12's down? Is Colorado good enough up front on the offensive line and the defensive line to give their playmakers a chance to go win something huge? Beat Kansas State this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about a narrative completely flipping on this head? You wanted this opportunity, but more importantly, you earned this opportunity. You earned a chance, regardless of what anybody has said. And there's things about the way that Colorado handles business that I don't like, that we don't like, and we've said that here. And we have questioned, and rightfully so. I think they've even questioned to themselves their ability up front. But you see, because I'm not worried about Shadur, I'm not worried about Travis, I'm not worried about Horn, I'm not worried about the skill guys. Colorado's whole season and level of success was going to be determined by the line of scrimmage. The more confident those guys get, their play will elevate because of who is around them. And if Colorado is able to find a way, I don't care if it's 70-69, I don't care if it's 7-6 or 1-0, to win this game, number one, Colorado and Deion Sanders deserves their flowers. And number two, now the conversation really has to turn to, can this Colorado team not only win the Big 12, but have a chance to get that automatic bid to the playoff, or possibly an at-large spot if they go 10-2, because make no mistake, the powers that be want Deion in this playoff from a dollars and cents standpoint, and I get why. They're one of the most, national stories that we have. Having said that, I think Kansas State has a great opportunity to show why they moved on from Will Howard, or why they were fine with Will Howard moving on. And Avery Johnson being able to go into a hostile environment, because is it at Colorado or is it at home?
Colorado?
It's at Colorado, going to a hostile environment where it's going to be more nuts than it has been, and beat them at where we think they're weakest at. Kansas State does not need to turn this into a who can throw the ball better contest, because Shadur's going to win it. They need to, early and often, talking about Kansas State, make sure Colorado remembers that Kansas State is a team that is built on the line of scrimmage from the inside out, and Colorado is built from the outside in. And if that's the case, Kansas State will find a way to win. But do not give Colorado confidence early, because if they think they can stalemate up front, and notice I said stalemate, I didn't say win. I don't think they have to win up front. I just think they have to hold up enough up front to give themselves a chance and give those guys around them a chance. So we don't trust Utah because Cam Rising, we don't know what's going to happen. Oklahoma State's a disaster. They're out of it. BYU's a great story. We'll see if that's going to continue. But if Colorado beats Kansas State, with what happened with Arizona, this conversation is going to take a different turn, and a turn that Colorado fans probably didn't even think it was going to take.
Well, the equation for Colorado has been fairly straightforward, I think, for a lot of us throughout the season and through the offseason, which is elite skill players combined with, subpar interior lineman play on both sides of the ball don't equal a lot of wins throughout the course of a season.
They don't win championship.
Exactly. The problem with that, what's not factored into the equation, is that if your skill players are going to be this elite, this consistent, and really this reliable in close ball games, like every time Colorado finds themselves in a close football game, they win it. Like, that says something to me about the guys that they have leading this team with Shadur and Travis Hunter. In the Central Florida game, that wasn't even a close ball game. You go and blow them out. And I know that win doesn't look quite as good now after what Florida did to them, but if you can go on the road and beat Central Florida like that, I've said that you can play with anybody in the conference, and if you do that, you can make the college football playoff based on the new format. So, yes, we get a chance to find out so much more now that you're going to play a Kansas State team. But, Blaine, 3.5 right now on the line, 56 on the over-under. Forget all that. Just like from who's going to win the football standpoint, like, where are you leaning right now on this?
I think it's almost a pick 'em at this point. If I were to pick anything, it would be the over. But I don't think Kansas State is as good as what we think they are. I watched BYU beat them to sleep, 38-9, and we can sit here and talk about Colorado and all these teams with the flashiness and all that, but there's only one story to me in the Big 12, and that is BYU. That is Retzloff and the boys. These guys are for real, soaking in celebration. Whatever they're doing, it's working. They go each Saturday, right, and win football games, and you can roll through their schedule. It's going to be a story. I don't see them losing this week. I see them beating that Arizona team. They're 4.5-point favorite. BYU is slowly stepping into the front seat, the pilot seat, the cockpit.
I can't believe we're sitting here.
Me
sitting
neither.
here talking about BYU.
Me neither. Some teams take buses, some teams take bikes. Who cares? Sooner or later, you're going to step on the field and play each other for four quarters. And BYU is showing up each Saturday and tearing people apart. Colorado, great story. Prime, great story. The only story I'm looking at is at Brigham Young University right now and what they're doing on Saturdays.
And obviously they're undefeated, so they don't have a conference loss. Colorado 4-1, lost to Nebraska. They don't have a conference loss. So a win, depending on who wins and who loses there, not only could Colorado find themselves ranked, but right there in a position to be in the lead for the conference.
Yeah, and again, I think the Big 12 is probably only going to get one this year, but that's still one. Now, it depends on what Notre Dame does, and we'll see down the stretch. But this is just, it's fascinating. It's a crazy time in college football. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Do us a favor. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We'd really, really appreciate it. And thanks, as always, for being here.